Welcome to the fourth video in our series of shell functions from the command line. You see some of the secrets cooking the exercise, but here we go. Dirt, how about that? Our objectives for this exercise: we'll load our functions from our library, making sure what the state is before we do that. We'll add a new function to help recover our functions to edit on the command line. Then we'll modify an existing function, replacing a command in that function with a new function inside a function. We'll update the library and check to see that our function was properly updated and added. All this just on the command line. If you finish the third exercise, you've saved your functions. If not, you should start with the first video and get to the same point as the rest of us are and get caught up. If you're still in the same terminal session, then you'll have your functions ready if you're seeing this in sequence. Let's see if we still have our functions. We do. If so, let's forget them with unset. This is a new command. Unset $parent functions. Remember, that's the value of the functions. If $parent command closed parent takes the return of the functions command and puts it on the command line, so we're going to unset the functions. How do we know? To check, let's see if they're still there. Functions. See, tins, that should be missing. We expected. Now let's look at our function library. Cat mylib pipe to more. There are the four functions in mylib, but we have not loaded them. Just to make it the point here, we're going to load them with sourcing mylib, dot being the oldest method of doing that. Source also work. Let's see if we have our functions back. Functions, C, tins, indeed we do. Suppose we want to add a function. Here's a trick to do it on the command line. Let's look at ls text. Okay, comma, fbdy, lstxt. There it is. We saw that before. We're going to replace the ls aster.text. It's a bit trivial, but simple is better at this point. Let's replace ls aster.text with a function that returns the same result. That would be this one. Text files does just that. txt files. This sort of points at the value of a function. If it's easily testable, it can be used outside the body of another function, txt files, and it shows us that we have four script files, 01 through 04, which we're using to drive these videos. Here's where we want to use it, in the body of ls text, which we can see. In order to edit a function on the command line, we need help from a trick that we're about to show you here. Something I'm going to call one-line function. It takes any function of modest size and returns it on the command line. Control-C collects all the text with having scraped it out. Control-V pastes it. Carriage return. Now we have a one-line function. And we're going to plunge right in to use it on our ls text. One-line fun, lstxt. There's ls text. We're going to the function, one-line fun, has produced a one-line function on the output. And the easiest way to use that production is to copy it. Let's just do that and paste it back on the command line. Here we go. Okay, copy it, scrape it with the mouse, Control-C, and paste it back with Control-V. We now have ls text is still defined. We haven't changed anything yet, but let's finish editing on the command line so it looks just like that. Okay, so if we paste it right back on the command line, okay, and scroll around here and move the cursor, echo ls text. Now we start typing txt files. ILES, semicolon, clear out the previous command. And oh yes, we have a stray comma that we know we don't need, and let's make them look identical. We now have LSTXT. LSTXT. Okay, and it did it because we have this function doing our work for us. LSText is doing the heavy lifting. Now to save this updated function and two new functions as well. Okay, what does that look like? We're going to save the necessary cleanup for a later example. We're going to append this fbdy list lstxt txt text files, txt files, and let's save one line fun. We don't have anything better to do with it. fun pipe t minus a mylib. The t displays its result as well as delivering it to the standard out, and minus a says append. And we can see that. We'll check the contents of mylib and clean it up in a later video.